Now, speaking of Prime Minister's questions, Walton's Labour MP, Dan Carden, said it was time to bring the hospital back into public hands. And he is on the line to us now. Dan, thank you for joining us. Why? Why do you think the government should take the Royal back in-house?
Hi, Roger. Well, my view is that we haven't had a public debate, really, about this hospital. We have a monument in the centre of our city that is delayed. We don't know when it will open. We don't know what is happening in these meetings. And it's time to have a public debate about that. But I also believe that the interests of the people of Liverpool will be best served if this hospital is nationalised, is brought back into public ownership, and the responsibility and the onus is then on the government to get this hospital open.
Well, David Livingstone, who was sitting in for Theresa May because she's busy elsewhere at BMQ today, his response I seemed to get was that this would open the floodgates for speculators to take out bad loans for projects and then know that they'll be bailed out if they failed. That's not a bad argument, is it?
Well, of course, the truth is that the taxpayer is always responsible for shouldering the risk in these deals. PFI is a dangerous project. It's been found wanton elsewhere. But when these corporations go belly up, it is always the taxpayer that comes to bail them out. And so I think if we're realistic about that, if we look at what the options are, what we need is public control over the hospital. We need to get it done. And we don't have a date for when this will take place.
Well, I know a number of MPs, including yourself, have been putting pressure on the government to try to get things moving on the hospital. You're not finding that's happening at all? Nothing's moving as far as you're aware?
Well, the interesting thing from David Livingstone's answer was that he is the Cabinet Secretary, but he never mentioned any meetings he's had with hospital representatives or investors or anybody else. He wasn't able to give us an update on a time frame at all. So it does leave you wondering what is going on in government and how much work they're actually putting into this, all the while we're waiting to see when this brand new hospital is going to be opened. And let me just tell you, I visited in June the hospital. I had a site tour and I met with the Chief Executive of the Hospital Trust. Now, this hospital is 90% complete. It's a beautiful new hospital. It has tens of millions of pounds worth of equipment sitting idle, doing nothing. And we don't even know if this equipment will be good enough to use once the hospital is finally opened. So, I think a bit of urgency from government, a bit of urgency and transparency from the investors and the trust would be welcome.
I have heard rumours, and I have no direct knowledge of this, that they are looking at the construction and that the Carillion had not used the best quality materials and that there are problems with the construction. Now, have you heard any of that or not?
I have, and actually if you look at some of the evidence that has been given to a joint inquiry of select committees in Parliament, there are structural issues with this building. What's been reported in Parliament is cracked beams, cracked structural beams. Work was undertaken by Carillion to try and rectify this before they finally collapsed. But again, my ask is, where is the public debate? Where is the transparency on what is happening? Is this hospital fit for purpose? And I think it's time to get those debates out of the boardrooms of the investors and actually tell the people of Liverpool what's happening with their hospital.
You're not optimistic, I hear, in your voice.
Well, I'm not optimistic if it carries on down this road. I think it does need intervention. I hope the question I've asked today will lead to further answers from government and from the trust and the investors, and let's see where it goes.
All right, thanks for talking about it and for raising it. I think people are worried about the length of time it's taking, and at least anything to bring pressure will help. But thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you.